I handed her a passbook at the reception. She looked at it for maybe 3 seconds and walked to the fountain outside and dropped it in the water. I watched the cover float there under the lights. Her husband stood next to her, and I heard him say something about loose change and my job. I got my coat and left through the side door before anyone noticed. I had been holding that passbook for 22 years. Thank you for being here with me tonight. My name is Dorothy and I am 63 years old. I have been carrying these memories for a long time, and they return slowly in pieces. If you want to hear how this memory ends, please follow this channel so it does not disappear between us. And if you are listening while you work, or while you clean, or while you drive home late, leave me a comment and tell me where this story found you. I would like to know I am not remembering alone. The wedding was in Baltimore. My daughter Shanice had planned it for 18 months. The venue was a restored warehouse near the harbor with tall windows and white everything. I had paid for the flowers. She did not ask me to, but I wanted to give her that. I worked as a cleaner at a medical office building downtown. I had been there since she was in elementary school. The flowers cost me 4 months of overtime, but they were beautiful. White roses and something else I cannot remember the name of now. Shanice met Elliot during her last year of graduate school. He worked in finance. His family owned property in 3 states. The first time I met him, he shook my hand and asked what I did, and when I told him, he smiled in a way that made me feel like I had answered a question he had not asked out loud. His mother did not come to the wedding. She sent a card. I had opened the passbook account in 1985. Shanice was 3 years old then. Her father had been gone for a year already. I was 24 and working 2 jobs, cleaning offices at night, and stocking shelves at a grocery store during the day. I did not have much, but I started putting money in that account every week. Sometimes it was $5. Sometimes it was 20. There were months where I could not add anything at all. But I did not close it. I kept the passbook in a drawer under my winter scarves. I did not talk about it with anyone. It was not a secret exactly, but it felt private. I told myself it was for Shanice, for something important one day. College maybe. Or a wedding. Or a house. I did not know yet. I just kept adding to it when I could. By the time she graduated high school, there was enough in there to cover her first 2 years at community college. She got a scholarship for the rest. I did not tell her about the account then because she did not need it. I thought maybe I would give it to her when she got married, or when she had a child, or when she needed it most. The wedding reception had a live band. They played jazz, which I do not think Shanice even likes, but Elliot's family requested it. I sat at a table near the back with 2 of my cousins and a woman from my church. Shanice came over once during dinner, and kissed my cheek and said everything looked perfect. She was happy. I could see that. Her dress had lace sleeves and a long train that 2 of her friends had to carry when she walked. She looked like someone I used to know. I waited until after the toasts to give her the passbook. I did not want to make it a big moment. I just walked up to her while she was standing near the dessert table with Elliot and 2 of his college friends. I handed her the small blue book, and said I had been saving it for her. She opened it and looked at the rows of dates and deposits. Her face did not change much. She said thank you, but it sounded automatic, like she was answering a phone. Elliot leaned over her shoulder and looked at the page. He said something I could not hear at first. Then louder he said, "Is this from like the 80s? One of his friends laughed. Shanice closed the book and held it against her side. I thought she was going to put it in her bag. Instead she walked toward the doors that led out to the courtyard. I followed her because I thought maybe she wanted to talk privately. But she went straight to the fountain in the center of the space, the one with the stone angels that the venue used in all their photographs. She stood there for a moment holding the passbook. Then she dropped it into the water. It landed face down and floated near the edge where the light from the reception hall made the water look gold. Elliot was standing behind her. He put his hand on her waist and said, "Your mom's just a cleaner anyway. She probably thinks that is a lot of money." Shanice did not say anything. She did not correct him. She did not look at me. She turned and walked back inside. And I stood there watching the passbook sink a little lower in the water. I went back to my table and got my coat. My cousin asked if I was leaving and I said I was tired. I did not say goodbye to Shanice. I did not want to make her wedding about my feelings. I took a cab home, even though it cost $40 I had not planned to spend. The next morning I woke up at 5:30 like I always do. I made coffee and sat by the window in my kitchen. I could see the light changing over the row houses across the street. I thought about the passbook sitting in that fountain. I wondered if someone from the venue had fished it out yet. Or if it was still there, the ink bleeding into the water. I decided to go to the bank. I am not sure why exactly. Maybe I wanted to close the account. Maybe I just wanted to see the balance one more time before I let it go. The bank opened at 9. I took the bus downtown and waited on the bench outside until the doors unlocked. It was a Saturday, so there were only 2 tellers working. I walked up to the younger one, a woman I had never seen before. I told her I needed to access an account, but I did not have the passbook anymore. I gave her my identification and the account number, which I had written on a slip of paper years ago and kept in my wallet. She typed something into her computer. Then she stopped. She looked at the screen for a long time. Then she looked at me. She said, "Ma'am, can you wait here for just a moment?" She went into the back office. I stood there holding my purse. A man in a suit came out a minute later. He introduced himself as the branch manager. He asked me to come sit in his office. I thought maybe there was a problem. Maybe the account had been frozen or closed for inactivity. I followed him past the teller stations into a room with glass walls and a wooden desk. He sat down and folded his hands. He said, "Ma'am, do not leave. I need to verify a few things, but this account has been accruing interest for a very long time." I did not understand what he meant at first. I told him I knew it was an old account. I had opened it in 1985. He nodded and turned his computer screen toward me. There was a number there I did not recognize. I thought maybe it was a mistake. He explained that the account had been earning compound interest for nearly 40 years. He said the initial deposits were small, but the growth over that much time was significant. The balance was $647,000. I stared at that number. I did not say anything. He asked me if I was all right. I told him I did not know that was possible. He said most people do not leave accounts untouched for that long, but the interest rate in the 80s was much higher than it is now, and compound growth over decades does things people do not expect. I asked him if I could withdraw it. He said yes, but he recommended I speak with a financial advisor first. He gave me a card. I took it and put it in my purse. Then I thanked him and left. I walked outside and sat on the same bench I had waited on earlier. I watched people go in and out of the coffee shop across the street. I did not call anyone. I did not know what to say. I thought about Shanice dropping that passbook in the water. I thought about Elliot's voice. I thought about all the years I had worked nights and weekends, putting away $5, $10, $20. I thought about the drawer under my scarves where I had kept that little blue book hidden. Not because I was ashamed, but because it was mine. I did not go to Shanice's house that week. She called me once to thank me for coming to the wedding. She did not mention the passbook. I did not bring it up. I wanted to see if she would say something on her own. She did not. 3 weeks later she called and asked if I could watch her apartment while she and Elliot went on their honeymoon. They were going to Italy for 2 weeks. I said yes. I watered her plants and brought in her mail. The apartment was in a new building with a doorman and a gym on the ground floor. Everything in it looked expensive and temporary, like a hotel. I found the passbook in her trash can under the kitchen sink. It was still damp. The pages had stuck together. I pulled it out and dried it with a towel and put it in my purse. I did not say anything to her about it when she got back. I met with the financial advisor the bank manager recommended. Her name was Angela. She was younger than Shanice, maybe 29 or 30. She explained my options. I could leave the money where it was. I could move it into different accounts. I could invest it. I could withdraw it all. She did not pressure me toward anything. She just explained what each choice would mean. I thought about it for 2 weeks. Then I decided to leave most of it alone. I moved some into a checking account so I could use it if I needed to. But the rest I left growing. I did not know what I wanted to do with it yet. I kept working at the medical building. My supervisor asked if I wanted to cut back my hours. I was 63 by then, and my knees hurt most mornings. But I said no. I liked the work. I liked the routine. I liked coming home tired. Shanice called me in December and asked if I wanted to come to Christmas dinner at her place. Elliot's father was going to be there. I said I would think about it. She sounded surprised. I had never said that before. I had always just said yes. I did not go. I told her I was not feeling well. She did not ask many questions. I spent Christmas with my cousin Donna and her family in Philadelphia. We ate ham and watched old movies. It was quiet. No one asked me about money or weddings or anything I did not want to talk about. In February, Shanice called and said she needed to talk to me. She sounded upset. I thought maybe something had happened with Elliot. I met her at a coffee shop near her office. She was already sitting down when I got there. She had ordered me a tea. I sat across from her and waited. She said Elliot's company was restructuring and he might lose his job. She said they had been living beyond their means. She said the apartment was too expensive, and they were behind on payments for the car, and the wedding still was not fully paid off. She started crying. She said she did not know what to do. I did not say anything right away. I drank my tea. It was too hot and burned my tongue a little. Then I asked her if she remembered the passbook. She looked confused at first. Then she nodded. She said she was sorry about that. She said it was a stressful day and Elliot had been drinking and she did not mean to be disrespectful. I told her it was all right. I told her I understood. Then I told her I went to the bank the next day. I told her what the balance was. She stared at me. She said that was not possible. I told her it was. I showed her the statement I had brought with me, folded in my coat pocket. She put her hand over her mouth. She said she did not know. She said if she had known she never would have thrown it away. She said she thought it was just a few $100, maybe 1,000 at most. She kept apologizing. She asked me why I never told her. I said I did not know I needed to. She asked me if I could help her. She said she knew it was a lot to ask. She said she would pay me back. I looked at her sitting there with her tea and her expensive coat, and her eyes all red. She looked young, younger than I remembered. I told her I would think about it. I did not give her anything that day. I went home and sat with it. I thought about all the years I had worked and saved and hoped that money would mean something to her one day. I thought about how it did mean something. Just not what I expected. A month later, I gave her $20,000. I told her it was a gift, not a loan. I told her I did not want to hear about it again. She cried and hugged me and said I was saving her life. I did not feel like I was saving anything. I felt like I was giving away something that had already been thrown away once. She and Elliot moved to a smaller place in Towson. He got a new job that paid less but was more stable. They stopped going out as much. Shanice started calling me more often just to talk. She never mentioned the money again, but sometimes I could hear it in her voice, the weight of knowing. I still clean offices downtown. I still keep my routines. I still live in the same house I have lived in for 30 years. But now when I pass the bank on my way to the bus stop, I think about that passbook floating in the fountain, and I think about how we throw away things before we understand what they are worth. I do not know if Shanice thinks about it the same way. I do not ask. Some things you carry alone, even after you have shared them. The passbook is still in my drawer, dried out and wrinkled, the ink faded in places. I keep it under my scarves where it has always been. I do not look at it often, but I like knowing it is there.